It is good to be back. I think the more and more I make these videos, the more comfortable I'm going to get. So please bear with me. Today is another video of me waffling. So apologies in advance. The last video was tough. I'm not going to lie, that was not easy for me to make. Just being honest with myself and yeah, just reflecting on how and why I got to where I am. So instead of a vlog today, today's more of a what I've learned and what lessons I can take with me moving forward. So right now, I'm not chasing hype. I have to say I'm a culprit of doing that in the past. It's so crazy. Like everything happens so quickly and you end up just chasing these highs. I think again, like I briefly touched on before, cryptocurrency, the highs and lows and how high the highs are and how low the lows are, it's very easy to get lost in the source. And I think I may have kind of slipped up in that respect. Now, I'm living purely for consistency, trying to rebuild something that's sustainable and not focusing so much on fast and quick wins. To be on point with everything I was doing, the amount of information and just trends and market developments and everything I had to be plugged into, it was a lot. I didn't really give myself any breaks at all. It was just constant work, which of course isn't a bad thing, but I feel like you kind of need to just take your head out of it sometimes, get back in touch with reality, and yeah, just assess. Just take yourself out of it and assess what you've done, what you're planning on doing, and just where you're currently at with things. Otherwise, I think it's just so easy to get lost in the momentum of what you're doing, especially when things are happening just so fast. It's like you almost don't have a chance to digest what's happening. Or even really, yeah, I would say for sure, like even appreciating things. Um, I was really fortunate to be able to catch that when it was happening. And actually, my mum, she watched this entire journey, and she was somebody I was telling everything to. So I was really lucky to have her there. She was just reminding me sometimes that maybe the way I was thinking or the decisions I was making may not have been the most sustainable way to go. But me being hard headed and doing well so quickly, I felt like I knew everything. And while I did take a lot of her advice, I, yeah, thought I knew better. Apparently, I didn't. So, this is essentially why it didn't last. Making money is great and even better when it's fast. However, that being said, I feel like you kind of lose touch with the value of money. Um, I'm speaking from experience here, and like I said, thank God I was able to catch myself before these. I don't know, this kind of like way of thinking got away from me and became the new norm. I essentially had to unlearn the way I was thinking for the last, I'd say it was a good year and a half, 2 years. That came after the reset in Spain. A lot of self reflection, a lot of hard truths, and just building a new plan. Like I said, a sustainable plan. So, what the rebuild looks like now, I'm keeping it simple, to be honest. It's just about not overcomplicating the journey anymore, not filling it with just unnecessary noise and distractions, essentially. I train, I work, and I make sure that I'm always present. Those are probably the main fundamentals of my day-to-day routine. And I make sure those are very structured. Whereas before, I would just train whenever. I'd be working until 7 a.m., go to sleep. It's just there's no structure to it. So it made my head just a bit of a mess, to be honest. And that was one of the main things I wanted to change moving forward. I focus on daily systems over goals. I focus on consistency and putting one foot in front of the other. It's just not about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, and letting the results just naturally materialize. And the more and more I've been doing that and just trusting the process, putting in the work, a lot of work. I was going to say without complaints, but that would be a flat out lie. I definitely still complain, but I do the work anyway. And I think that's the most important thing. It's not going to be perfect. The journey, we're going to have our ups and downs, but as long as you show up, and I think that mentality, if you apply that to anything, whether it be a business goal or fitness goal, anything, eventually you're going to get to where you want to be, as long as you show up, you put in the work, and you essentially just refuse to not succeed. That's pretty much the way I've been living my life. How I've always been living my life. But as I said, this version is just a structured version. So I've let go of a lot of distractions. I've stopped trying to... I'm trying. I'm definitely getting there and we're making progress, but I'm a culprit of just putting too much on my plate and trying to do too much. It ends up burning me out and having more of a detrimental impact on myself than if I just focused on a few things which all contribute to the end goal. I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to perform, specifically by a certain time, and putting those kind of deadlines on what I was trying to achieve probably forced me into making decisions which weren't the best. Taking your time and just showing up and just putting the work in day after day after day and letting things just materialize as and when they are supposed to, I have to say that has got to be a lesson I learned the hard way. And I'm happy for it. Like I said in my last video, I'm super happy for all of the difficult periods I've found myself going through previously, because without them, my mentality definitely wouldn't be how it is today. So this chapter isn't about validation. It's just about me believing in myself and putting in the work. If anybody's able to relate to any of this, then that's great. I understand it's not easy, and if you're in chaos and it just feels like, I'd say the best way to explain it would be you just feel like underwater. I get it. I've been there too, and that exact way of describing it is how I used to say it's like life is just going. Not every video is going to be exciting, but this is where it starts, and I didn't want to jump into where I am now and the things I'm going to be doing without sharing where I've been and how I've ended up here. It's about just being honest and not just showing the good times, but also showing the bad. We're all human. Nothing is perfect and we all make mistakes. And I've got to the point, even though it might make me feel awkward, where I'm happy to share that. And for me as well, I think this would just be really cool to look back on when, I was going to say hopefully, but we're not going to say that. We're going to speak positively. When I do make it to where I want to be, it's going to be really nice to look back at these videos and, yeah, just like reflect on the journey. You know that saying where it's everybody who's actually made it and they're just super successful, and they say, it's not the destination, it's the journey. I try to remind myself about that all the time, so then I actually appreciate like the lessons I'm learning or the tough times I find myself in. It's so easy to just be so consumed by what we're trying to achieve that you don't even take a minute to appreciate where you are. And I'd say that was Spain for me. And now I'm in Bali, I just refuse. I remember saying this to my mom. I was like, I honestly, as hard as I'm going to work, I'm going to take a minute just to like absorb. Do you know what I mean? Like, just take in where I am. Because there's nothing wrong with not being where you want to be. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more for yourself. But they say your reality is somebody else's dream. And that hits. Because it's so true. Like, somebody is always worse off. No matter how bad you think you are, there's always somebody doing worse. And your reality legitimately is somebody else's dream, no matter where you are. You don't have to be in Bali. You don't have to be doing anything even like remotely crazy. Just your everyday life is somebody else's dream. So I think, yeah, that's probably the message I want to finish this off. Is just take a minute, be grateful for where you're at, be grateful to be healthy. Because without health, we can't achieve anything we want to achieve. So taking it down to such basics, like just being able to chase your dreams, I think is just super important to remember. And these kind of things keep you grounded. These are the things that remind you to be happy. Enjoy life and take a minute to just process where you're at. Congratulate yourself for all the achievements you've made. Okay, we've got a way to go to where we want to be, but we've done really well to be where we're at. And just because we're not where we want to be, it doesn't take away what we've been through and what we've achieved so far. So, I hope you don't mind listening to me waffle. But this is where it starts. I'm going to keep posting weekly. I'm really enjoying being back. I'm feeling more comfortable already by video 2. And hopefully we will just build momentum with that. The idea is to post about mindset, discipline, and just the overall rebuilding journey. I'm definitely going to throw some vlogs in there. For those who have seen my old videos or know me personally, you know I was really into the vlogging thing back in the day, and I would like to incorporate that and show what I'm up to and show the life, but not in a materialistic or anything like that. I just want to day in the life of grinding towards our dreams. And that's it. Hard work. Just trying to be happy. And just being grateful. I'd say gratitude. Gratitude is one of the main things I've tried to keep at the forefront of my mind. Having little talks with God and just saying, hey, like, thank you. Thank you for every day. Thank you for being able to wake up and work towards my goals. And thank you for where I am. Just, it's important to be grateful. So if any of this resonates with you, really appreciate you guys sticking around. And I'll see you next week.